Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to the channel. This Saturday is UFC 286, Leon Edwards versus Kamaru Usman 3. And opening up the main card, we have an amazing middleweight matchup, Marvin Vettori versus Roman Dolidze. And this is going to be my full breakdown and prediction for this fight. I've already done a bunch of UFC 286 content. I will link my entire UFC 286 playlist down in the description. And I've already done prediction videos for the main event and co-main event if you want to go check those out after this. But this is a very important fight in the middleweight division that's being massively overlooked on the UFC 286 card because we have Justin Gaethje versus Rafael Fiziev, because we have Kamaru Usman versus Leon Edwards 3. Nobody is talking about Marvin Vettori versus Roman Dolidze. This is a massive fight in the middleweight division. Obviously, we won't really have clarity in the division till next month at UFC 287 when we get Alex Pereira versus Israel Adesanya 2. But the winner of this fight is going to be in a very good position because Marvin Vettori, while I know he just got outclassed by Robert Whittaker in his last fight, and he's already fought Israel Adesanya twice and lost twice in his UFC career, if he wins this fight and let's say Alex Pereira stays champion at UFC 287, he's probably one or two fights away from a potential title shot in the division. And for Roman Dolidze, this is the biggest step up in competition in his entire MMA career. And it's kind of came out of nowhere because a couple months ago, he was literally an unranked contender. He got a short notice fight against Jack Hermansson, won that fight, and now he's fighting Marvin Vettori, who's been ranked in the top 5 for probably the last 2 years or so. So this is a massive fight for Roman Dolidze, and if Roman Dolidze beats Marvin Vettori, and let's say he does it in an impressive fashion, and let's say Adesanya beats Pereira to get his belt back, guess what? Roman Dolidze is on a short list of guys who have not fought Israel Adesanya yet. So Roman Dolidze with a big win here will be in a great position within the middleweight division. But regardless of who wins here, I think they'll be in a very good spot in the middleweight division. Marvin Vettori's kind of in a spot where he's kind of defending his ranking. But still, I think a win over a surging contender like Roman Dolidze is still a quality win and puts him on track to maybe be one or two fights away from a title shot. So this fight's massively important. Both guys are super highly skilled, and this is a big test for Dolidze. This is the biggest step up in competition he's had in his MMA career. Marvin Vettori's been around for a while. He's super well-rounded, and it's going to be very interesting. Roman Dolidze's looked like a killer in his last few fights, but not against the best competition. So it's going to be very interesting to see how he looks against a guy like Marvin Vettori. Now, if you look at the tail of the tape for this fight, you have Marvin Vettori, who's 18-5-1. Roman Dolidze is 12-1. Vettori is ranked number 4. Dolidze is ranked number 9. Vettori is 29. Dolidze is 34. Vettori is 6 foot. Dolidze is 6'2". Vettori has a 74-inch reach, and Dolidze has a 76-inch reach. So a 5-year youth advantage for Marvin Vettori, which is surprising, but a 2-inch reach and height advantage for Roman Dolidze. So if you look at Roman Dolidze's pro MMA career, of his 12 wins, 7 by knockout, 3 by submission, 2 by decision, his only loss came via decision. He comes into this fight on a 4-fight winning streak. His last fight was against Jack Hermansson in December of 2022. He stepped in on short notice for Derek Brunson, and boy, did he capitalize on that. Because he went out against Jack Hermansson. The first round, Jack Hermansson outstruck him, even took him down. But you see Roman Dolidze use a sweep on the ground in the first round. And then in the second round, Jack Hermansson's outstriking him, takes him down again. Roman Dolidze starts using that same sweep. There's a scramble. Next thing you know, he ends up in a calf slicer with Jack Hermansson face down and just pounds him out. Jack Hermansson had no answer for it. He could not get out of the position. It was a horrible position, and he finished him. And this was like Roman Dolidze's coming out party. A lot of people weren't super familiar with him. He went out there and destroyed Jack Hermansson on short notice and made a name for himself. And now he's a top 10 ranked contender. He went from unranked to ranked in the top 10. The fight before that, a guy like Phil Hawes, he went out there and brutally KO'd him. This was back in October of last year. And then the fight before that, which was in June of last year, he KO'd Kyle Dawkins. This winning streak isn't the most quality win streak. You know, Kyle Dawkins, I don't even know if he's in the UFC anymore. Phil Hawes is kind of hit or miss. You know, he's super inconsistent. But nonetheless, he went out there and finished both those guys in the first round and then came in on short notice against Jack Hermansson and finished him in the second round. His only MMA loss was back in March of 2021 against Trevin Giles. This was a highly competitive fight. Honestly, it could have went to Roman Dolidze. It could have went round 1 and round 3 to Roman Dolidze, but it was a back and forth fight. There was a lot of scrambles on the ground. In the second round, Roman Dolidze was constantly looking for leg locks and foot locks. And Trevin Giles, while Dolidze was kind of spamming for those submission attempts, landed some vicious ground and pound, and that may have swayed the round and inevitably won him the fight. But it was a competitive fight. Roman Dolidze got hurt badly in the third round. And Roman Dolidze, even though it's a loss to a guy like Trevin Giles, it wasn't the worst loss ever, and that was the first loss of his MMA career and the only loss of his MMA career. You look at Marvin Vettori, 18 wins. Of those 18 wins, 2 by knockout, 9 by submission, 7 by decision. All 6 of his losses are via decision. He comes into this fight on a 1-fight losing streak. His last fight was against Robert Whittaker back in September. In this fight, we know how good Robert Whittaker is. In this fight, he made Marvin Vettori look like an amateur. He outboxed him. He outgrappled him. He just beat him up for 3 rounds. It was not even close. And it just showed how good Robert Whittaker is. If it wasn't for Israel Adesanya, I think Robert Whittaker is probably still the middleweight champion. So not a horrible loss to have for Marvin Vettori. The fight before that was back in October of 2021 against Paulo Costa. This ended up being at light heavyweight because Paulo Costa came in overweight, decided to make the fight at light heavyweight last second. This was a crazy fight, back and forth fight. Marvin Vettori wins via decision. But one thing I learned about Marvin Vettori that we already kind of knew going into the fight, but we learned even more in this fight, the guy is made of bricks. He ate some massive shots in this fight from Paulo Costa. We're talking heavy body kicks, heavy hooks, and Marvin Vettori just doesn't even react. He eats power shots like it's a jab. That's how durable Marvin Vettori is. His pressure, his striking looked good in this fight, and he just basically outpaced Paulo Costa. The fight before that was back at UFC 263 in June of 2021, and in this fight, he just got outstruck by Israel Adesanya. He had a moment, I think, in the first or second round where he took Adesanya down, got his back, but wasn't able to really do anything with it. And ultimately, he just gets picked apart for 5 rounds, loses via decision, claims he won. A little bit delusional. And then before that, he outgrappled Kevin Holland. Before that, he beat up Jack Hermanson, an opponent in common, outstruck him. This was a 5-round main event. This was actually a really good fight. And then you look at the rest of his resume, not the greatest names: Carl Roberson, Andrew Sanchez, Cesar Ferreira. And then he fought Israel Adesanya when Israel Adesanya was early on in his career and lost via split decision. But this shouldn't have been a split decision. Israel Adesanya clearly won this fight. And Marvin Vettori is one of those guys that's really, really good, but he's just not great anywhere. And the best win of his career is Paulo Costa, obviously. And Paulo Costa came into this fight maybe injured. That's why he didn't make weight. But you look through Marvin Vettori's career, it's just not the greatest names. He's been in the UFC since 2016, so he's been in the UFC 7 years. What was really shocking to me about this matchup that I did not realize when it was initially booked is that Marvin Vettori is 29 and Roman Dolidze is 34. That is crazy to me. It seems like if you asked me off the top of my head how old is Marvin Vettori, I would have guessed mid-30s. So it was shocking to me how young he was. And this is a fight that's very interesting because Roman Dolidze is kind of surging in the middleweight rankings and looking better than ever and looking like he's improving fight to fight. And Marvin Vettori's kind of, he's just there. He's not great anywhere. He's really good everywhere, but he's just not great in one specific aspect. And he's won 1 out of his last 3, and that's against Paulo Costa. And it almost looks as if this fight, it's going to be Roman Dolidze's even more of a coming out party than the win over Jack Hermanson. But I look at their skill sets, and I see Roman Dolidze, who's kind of a knockout guy, but has excellent jiu-jitsu, excellent scrambles on the ground, doesn't have the best stamina. And then I look at Marvin Vettori, I see great stamina, good wrestling, good striking, good pressure, amazing durability. And this is a fight where I really think Roman Dolidze has to find the finish. He's going to have to KO Marvin Vettori, or he's going to have to submit Marvin Vettori. And you look at Marvin Vettori's career, 25 pro fights, he's never been finished. So I think it's going to be really hard for Roman Dolidze to find a finish. And his striking is not particularly technical. And that's why, for my official prediction for this fight, I am going Marvin Vettori via 3rd round TKO. I just think Roman Dolidze, this is too much too soon. I think he is improving, but I don't think the striking is particularly technical. I think Marvin Vettori is so durable. Even if Roman Dolidze lands a big shot, I think Marvin Vettori will eat it like it's nothing. Marvin Vettori is literally built out of cinder blocks. And I just don't think Roman Dolidze has the stamina to keep up with the pace that Marvin Vettori puts on guys. Now, I could see for a path to victory, I could see Marvin Vettori getting sloppy, maybe with a takedown or something, and getting submitted by Roman Dolidze, because I think Dolidze does have the jiu-jitsu advantage. But I think Marvin Vettori is going to keep it standing. I think Marvin Vettori can bully Roman Dolidze in the clinch if he wants to. I think he's the stronger guy. Marvin Vettori's the bigger guy. And I just think as long as Marvin Vettori doesn't go to the ground with him and put himself in risky situations, I don't see Marvin Vettori getting finished. He would have to get caught in a weird submission, which Roman Dolidze can definitely pull off. But I just don't think Vettori's going to put himself in those types of situations. And I think we're going to see a Dolidze that's going to get tired. I don't think he has the stamina to keep up with the pace that Marvin Vettori puts on guys. Marvin Vettori will put on a pace. For 3 rounds, he will put on a pace for 5 rounds. He will move forward. He will throw combinations. He will eat your shots, and he will continue to move forward. And honestly, he doesn't even wear any damage. Even when he eats big shots, he doesn't even look like he's damaged. So I think Roman Dolidze is really going to have to find a Hail Mary submission here. And I don't think Vettori's going to end up in that spot. I think Vettori will be the stronger fighter. I think Vettori has more technical striking. And I think Vettori, his ultimate strength is his stamina and durability. And when you're in a fight and you hit a guy and you smack him with a big power shot, and then he continues to move forward and pressure you as you're getting tired, I just don't think Roman Dolidze is going to be able to deal with the well-rounded skill set of Marvin Vettori. And I think the pace of Marvin Vettori, I don't think Roman Dolidze's stamina is horrible, but I think the pace of Marvin Vettori, the combinations of Marvin Vettori, the pressure that he's going to put on Dolidze, I think by the 3rd round, I think Dolidze is going to be very tired. I think he's going to be shooting in on desperation takedowns. I think maybe in a clinch, he's going to try to roll for a leg lock. Marvin Vettori is going to pull out of the situation. I don't think he's going to find it. And I think he's going to be very tired. And I think in the 3rd round, Roman Dolidze will wilt under the pressure of Marvin Vettori. And Marvin Vettori will clip him with a big shot, drop him, and then finish him with ground and pound. It's not going to be a situation where, he's putting his lights out, but I just think the accumulation of Marvin Vettori, the pressure of Marvin Vettori, will eventually lead him to finding a finish in that 3rd round because of how exhausted Roman Dolidze will be, because of the pace that we will see Marvin Vettori set in this fight. I think Roman Dolidze can still be a future contender in the middleweight division, but I think this is a little much too soon to go from Phil Hawes, not that long ago, to now all of a sudden you're fighting Marvin Vettori. And again, I don't think Marvin Vettori's like, really elite anywhere. He's just so well-rounded. The striking is good. The defensive striking is good. The overall durability, the stamina is good. The combinations, the pressure, the pace, all of that well-rounded into one fighter is going to be too much for Roman Dolidze, who's going to have to find an early KO or going to have to find a submission. I would also think that if Marvin Vettori doesn't find the finish in the 3rd round or even the late 2nd round, I think you'll see Marvin Vettori win via decision. And I think Roman Dolidze will have some moments where maybe he lands a big shot and you're expecting to get a big reaction out of Marvin Vettori, but he just kind of eats it and continues to move forward. So I'll say Marvin Vettori 30-27 decision. I think the 1st round will be competitive. I think, you'll see Roman Dolidze land some shots, but I think as the fight goes on, Marvin Vettori is going to take over. And I really think Marvin Vettori can out-grapple him as well. I think he can bully him in the clinch. I think he's going to be the stronger fighter. And I think he can even use the takedown. And I don't think Roman Dolidze is going to be able to use those scrambles and use those sweeps against a guy as big and strong as Marvin Vettori like he did against Jack Hermanson. So I think Roman Dolidze, just a little bit too much too soon. Marvin Vettori is going to beat him via decision 30-27. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like the video, and thank you so much for watching.